Hello and welcome to Warhammer Wednesday. My Mars pattern Reaver Titan is complete. The Mechanicum have done a fine job. I've done a fine job actually. It's finished. It's taken me about 2.5 months from starting it. I mean, I got it about a year ago, and I only started it start of July, and it's middle of September now. So there it is. I've called it Dominus. I've written Dominus on there. I will go closer and show you all the detail and things on the Reaver Titan. But like I say, the only thing I've got to do is just spray it with Purity Seal, and I'm still deciding whether or not to. So I'm not going to do it. Put your comments below if you think I should, if you think I shouldn't. I've sprayed models with Purity Seal before, or matte varnish. I'm sure they're the same thing. And it's made the model look quite shiny and not realistic. And also, if it gets damaged or chipped, then if you paint over that Purity Seal, it's going to look odd, because it's going to be, again, it's going to be like a dry matte paint along with kind of shiny. I just thought I'd put that out there, see what your thoughts are on things. So there's my little tech priest down there. He came with the model, and I decided to paint him separately and put him on a base. So I'm quite happy with all of his detail. I painted these white like cogs on him. He's just on his iPad 5000, and yeah, he's glowing green eyes, a little flamer just to light his cigar, whatever. But yeah, so I've decided to put him on a base. Believe it or not, even with the servo arms, he can fit inside the Reaver Titan. He won't jingle about too much. Despite his height, he fits in there fine, and I might just store him in there, who knows. If you want a size comparison with the Space Marine, here's the Space Marine. There he is. So he's, yeah, considerably larger. If you wanted a size comparison with an Imperial Knight Titan, he comes up to about the knee. So that's a Imperial Knight Titan. You can see I've just gone for the black and gold colour scheme, just because it's worked so well with the Knight Titans, and it's really eye-popping, and it's just awesome. And then I've got a Warhound Titan as well, so I think I should really put the Warhound Titan next to him. So I don't know if you can see that, but the Warhound Titan comes up to about where his weapons kind of stop, so just below his head height. That's where a Warhound Titan comes up. And then obviously a Warlord is about there. Well, you can't see it, but it's off the screen. Now I'll just show you the detail of the model. I'll zoom in and go around it and all the rest of it. But like I say, it's taken me about 2.5 months. If you followed my guide, I think we left it at me about to finish the legs, something like that. But either way, I finished the legs. I wrote Dominus on the knee armour. It was a pain to get these gaps in there. I mean, I'm going to do a completely separate video whereby I talk about all the tools you needed and glue and what I used and some of the problem areas and things like that. But this is just kind of like a video, the final part of the series, just showing you it completed, things like that. I'll be doing, believe it or not, I will be doing a separate showcase video with some cool music and things. Well, I think it's cool anyway. Just showing you all the detail and things like that. But I'll just be doing a flyby of this Titan. So I've called it Dominus, and then on the top there I put Legio Xerxes. I haven't gone full gothic on the writing or anything like that. I think it looks fine. I was going to go Legio Crucius, but I've seen a couple of Crucius Reaver Titans online. I thought, well, I haven't seen any Xerxes, so I'll put Xerxes, even though Crucius is similar to the colour scheme, obviously just without a white head and some chest marks, things like that. But normally Crucius is black and gold. So yeah, I've gone for Xerxes. Xerxes has got quite a good backstory in that the Mars pattern Titans, and I went back to Mars in the age of like the Dark Mechanicum and things, and it was not known whether they were all they were involved in the Battle of Nerth, very early on in like the Great Crusade, and it wasn't very, the fluff wise, it wasn't, they lost 9 Titans, and it wasn't known whether they joined Chaos or whether they were still with the Imperium, and they remain lost to this date. So I just thought, I just like that fluff and the backstory and things, and I didn't want to paint it blue and yellow and things like everyone else kind of has. The features of this Titan, well, apart from it being massive and weighing quite a lot, is one thing I will say is, if you're thinking about magnetising, do all of that first. Get all your magnets sorted out and the way it fits together and things like that first, because I couldn't wait, and I actually painted a lot of it, and then I did magnets, and the resin dust ruins paint jobs, and because it's so fine, and if you haven't matte varnished it as well, yeah, you might have to go over your paint jobs. So just bear that in mind. Do your magnets first by all means. So what can this Titan do? Well, it can move full 360 if you really wanted him to, which is quite cool. I'll show you the magnets in a moment. The weapon arms, although they're bloody heavy, and I do get a little bit of paint that chips off, nothing really I can do about that. I mean, I suppose I could varnish that, and then that'll seal the paint on, and it'll help with the wear a little bit. But these are the weapons. This is a Gatling blaster. I did have it all metal, but I'm pleased that I changed it so that it had brass in parts. Quite a nice contrast between the metal, the brass, and the gold and the black. I like those colours there. So, and that weighs an absolute ton. So I used the 2 kilogram pull. If you're wondering, if you want to know why that's all crapped out, that's because I did put 10mm magnets in, and there's no way on earth that was going to hold these massive weapons. So I had to drill it out, take it off, and all the rest of it. So that weapon comes off, and they're both magnetised the same way. So I can pull this weapon off and move it onto this one if I so wish. As you can see, they're very strong, not going anywhere, and I can move them as well. But obviously, that does chip away the paint, so got to be careful. I'm going to see if I can find a workaround to that. But yeah, so I think what I will be doing is purchasing. I don't think I'll purchase a volcano cannon because it's a bit underpowered, a bit crap at the moment compared to a turbo laser. I mean, yeah, obviously the volcano cannon's got the massive range, 180-inch range. It's just shy of double the range of the laser blaster, but you know, I don't really play a lot with my models, don't really do much gaming with them, so I probably will get a volcano cannon at some point, but the next weapon will be another laser blaster. So they both come off. The apocalyptic missile launcher comes off. I've done the missiles just like my Terminator, like I said I would. It's come out really well. Throughout all of this, I was thinking of like writing little bits of gold in places, like little bits of gold writing, but in the end, I mean, it works well for the Night Titan on his armour plates, but in the end I just thought it'd look a bit too much, a bit like graffiti or something, and I wanted those plain contrasts between black and the gold, and I wanted the writing just on the scrolls and pieces like that. But yeah, this is magnetised. You don't need to magnetise it because it's very, very heavy and it sits in there well, but I just thought I'd magnetise it anyway, because there's a cool little feature that I'm going to show you that you can do with that. So that's like that. The head is magnetised. I've used 2 lots of 10mm magnets, so there's 2 in there and 1 here, and they're quite flush, so it does stick on quite well. But word of warning, try and get them as level as you can, because otherwise your head's going to be a bit wonky. I haven't magnetised the top. There really is no need. Even with a small magnet, you don't need to. It sits on there very snug and comfortable and tight. So yeah, that's that. And then in here, I don't know if you can see, there is a heap ton of detail in there. Quite a couple of hours spent painting the Princeps and Moderati and the eyes. Nice gloss on there. Yeah. So nice little mountains, and in there There's also mountains as well. I'll show you that. I'll move the camera around. So yeah, that's the head. It can be detached. And this is not glued. I'll just pop this off. So that'll pop off like that. Not magnetised, but a heck of a lot of detail on there. Like I say, stay tuned for my upcoming showcase video where I'll go through all of it. I chose to super glue this on. It's fine, I don't mind. There's no need to have it loose or wobbly or anything like that. I've just had it like that, really. Then this is what I'm talking about. Massive 2 kilogram pull magnet in there, and this just holds this entire set on there. The shoulder pads are not magnetised, they're super glued. I see no real reason to magnetise them. They're not going to bring out any new shoulder pads, and they're fine as they are. There's no need to move them about or change their position. So that's that. What I will say though is, I'll show you some of the detail inside. The void shields, they've all got tiny little magnets in, so you can just pop them off and then they're magnetised. And I didn't put any white dots in them because they're not really lenses. I just shine them up a bit and change the colour. But if you can see slightly in there, there's a little servitor in there and little computer screen with keyboard, and there's a mountain, so it's showing the same display as in the cockpit. Doors are red again, don't know if you can see in there, and again another screen showing a readout of some enemy vehicles that are about to get wiped out. Yeah, so a lot of detail in there, hours and hours worth, with cabling and all kinds of things. And like I say, the Tech Marine, if you wish, he can just slot in there and he goes up against the door and he's fine. He doesn't wobble, break or anything. But I just wanted him as a separate model. So that's that. And yeah, this is the new cool Titan that I've created, by the way. It's yeah, it's a nice little apocalyptic missile launcher walker that I've just created. No, just kidding. But yeah, so there you go. That's I think that's everything that I wanted to show you about it being finished. Sorry it's such a long video, but if I just show you the legs, it took ages. I decided not to put anything on that knee pad. I could have put some little gold writing or a gold tree, but I think it's cool that there's a contrast, that there's not too much going on, because it really sucks you into the gold and the black colour scheme. The feet themselves, I did the wiring. I don't know whether I said it on a video, probably not, but what I've done is for those wires, because of the legs and the way they are in that position, I put them in boiling hot water before I painted them, obviously, and no, after I painted them, sorry, and then when they became very soft, I bent them into place, put a blob of super glue on each side and stuck them in, and they go in very flush and they're very easy to manipulate when they bend, and then they just glue and set into place. No problems, no issues there, so that was great. It's up to you whether you want to do that bit. When I did that bit, which is towards the end of the model, before I put those knee pads on, because the reason being is because these two plates and the wiring, if you're having to touch up and manipulate the feet and things like that, you end up holding that part of the model and these parts of the model a lot. So if you've painted it, it's going to get scuffed up. These cables might come loose. All those kind of problems might happen. But yeah, that's the rear of the legs. It's annoying because I did all the detail inside like other people have, and then it gets covered up anyway. I think that's it's a bit annoying, but that's the rear. So I've got him moving forward. I'm really happy with the way the feet have come. They're both solid platforms and they both take the weight of the model. Oh yeah, that's one thing I didn't show you. In there, another little servitor. He's all right detailing. I did try to do a bit of highlighting, but it just looked a bit too pale on him. But yeah, got some lights going on there and things like that. So, but yeah, the more I look at it, the more I see detail. It just takes ages just to soak up all the detail on a model like this. But in total, it's been 2.5 months, and I'm very, very pleased with it. Very chuffed. I've wanted one for ages. If you're on the fence about getting one, don't be. Just go out, treat yourself, get this model. It will surpass your expectations as long as you don't get any dodgy parts on it. But Forge World customer service is always very good. They can always ship you out any. I didn't have any problems with this. Yeah, there were a couple of pieces that had quite heavy mould lines, but nothing a modeller can do. One thing I will say, because it's nearly 20 minutes now, this video, one thing I will say is this model is not for everyone. I wouldn't just go out and buy this as your first Forge World model. It's definitely aimed at a more experienced modeller. Really doesn't come much more difficult than this, other than maybe a Warlord Titan, but we'll see about that. It is a complex model to build. I didn't put anything on the shield, and that is not a, you know, I did mean not to put anything on the shield, because again, I just want people to concentrate on the writing and not something on the shield as well, because otherwise, again, I'm really conscious of too much happening. I didn't want there to be lots of detail everywhere that completely puts you off the, you know, that contrast of colour. So, as you can see, it's finished. Thanks ever so much for joining me for this in-depth kind of look at my finished model. I'm very pleased to have built one in my lifetime, and I'm chuffed to have shown you all it. Hopefully you'll see it in a battle report. That'd be great. But the next video next week will be some Reaver Titan tactics, and then we'll move on to the Warhound and maybe bigger or smaller models, we'll see. So thanks ever so much for joining me today. Thanks for watching. The Emperor Protects.